Hello. What's up, SEffectHeads? Southern Gamer. It's story time today, guys, of who? EnimaZ. And EnimaZ is my made-up character. I told you a week ago, 2 weeks ago now, that we're making EnimaZ Story, so you'll get a better understanding of EnimaZ Story. I will be putting pictures up throughout the whole video, so you get an understanding what I'm talking about. I'll be telling you what the story is, how this and that happened, and a what if to finish it all up. And let's get on this straight away. Okay, the story of EnimaZ was, it was right before Planet Vegeta exploded. It was like a couple of days before Planet Vegeta exploded. And EnimaZ was 17, 18, and he has a brother that was older than him, around about 23, 25. And EnimaZ was very close with King Vegeta. You know, King Vegeta was impressed with him, how his fighting style was becoming a lot more stronger. And King Vegeta was like, okay, we need him in our elite forces. And EnimaZ was, you know, like any younger brother would be, wanted to step in the footsteps of EnimaZ, his brother. I will put a picture up of EnimaZ right now. There you go, guys, so you know exactly what EnimaZ is, so you're not getting confused like, who the hell is this dude? It's EnimaZ's brother. EnimaZ there. So you guys know who exactly what I'm talking about and what I'm going on about, so don't get confused throughout the story. Anyways, EnimaZ was told by King Vegeta, okay, you know, Frieza has got this planet that needs to be, you know, checked out, you know. He wants to send 2 Saiyans there, and EnimaZ was a bit, you know, dubious. Okay, boy, send 2 Saiyans, you know, is it unhammered? And Frieza didn't say anything, and King Vegeta couldn't give him any information because obviously Frieza would kill King Vegeta. But anyways, EnimaZ was said to EnimaZ, you know, can EnimaZ come? And at first, EnimaZ was like, you know, to King Vegeta, can he? Like I just said. And King Vegeta was like, no at first. Then Frieza said, you know, he can go. Now the thing with EnimaZ is, and I'll explain this a bit better, EnimaZ is almost like a Broly in a way. Like, you know, he can't control his power a lot of the time, so he usually relies on fists, to be honest, when he fights. And EnimaZ relies more on blasts, ki blasts, when he fights, because he can control his ki a lot more. And you'll see that and understand that a lot more when I tell you about the what if story mode and how that applies to the what if. Anyways, guys, yeah, they get sent off to this distant planet, and there's no information on this planet, so they're totally confused. And EnimaZ has obviously got Saiyan armor on him, and as you can see in this picture right now, this is where I explain how he got his Saiyan armor. Anyways, EnimaZ always was a bit here and there with the Saiyans, didn't believe in how they did stuff, how they conquered planets. You know, he just wanted to do his own thing. Even though he couldn't control his ki, that's another reason why he didn't want to battle for, because he knew if he battled, his ki wouldn't be able to be controlled for long. If the fight lasted long. Even if it didn't last long, it would be a problem. But anyways, EnimaZ was like to EnimaZ, why didn't you bring your Saiyan arm? You know, we're on to a different distant planet, you know what's going to happen? And EnimaZ was like, you know, he's against it. He doesn't want to wear Saiyan armor. So anyways, EnimaZ and EnimaZ are on this distant planet, and EnimaZ has got no scout armor, EnimaZ's got no scouter as well, so they can't send power levels whatsoever. But anyways, they hear some certain noises, and they're like a bit confused on what's happening, you know. Okay, why is there a bit of noise here? You know, this was meant to be uninhabited, like nothing's meant to be on here whatsoever. It's a wasteland. But at the same time, EnimaZ was completely confused about this and told EnimaZ to get behind him, and then before they know it, they're both attacked by the failed experiment. And this is where I'll be able to tell you more about the failed experiment. The failed experiment was basically a fighter himself. He was told to go into that planet as well and search it himself. Obviously, he got controlled by the parasite, and the parasite eventually gets control of the failed experiment 0. And this is how EnimaZ and EnimaZ get lost. EnimaZ and EnimaZ start fighting, and obviously EnimaZ, he's confused, he can't tap into that, awakened form, and they need it desperately. Anyways, EnimaZ shows an interest, sparks interest in front of the failed experiment 0. He goes blood. Like I said to you guys, will tell to you and explain to you, blood mode. Blood mode is basically a rage, a blood rage. It's basically like Kaioken. So for say, and it basically boosts your stats, but at the same time it takes a toll on you, and it will make you, like, if you don't cough up blood, you'll bleed somewhere, but usually it's through the mouth you cough up blood because it's a massive strain on your body. Anyways, EnimaZ and EnimaZ start fighting this parasite and with the failed experiment, and eventually they both get lost. They're not together anymore, and a massive explosion happens. EnimaZ went into this fit of rage, the blood, and he's made to believe by the parasite that he killed EnimaZ. EnimaZ made it out to be that he's killed EnimaZ. So they think they've killed each other, so they're obviously feeling bad as hell. And the failed experiment takes EnimaZ, and the parasite takes EnimaZ. Now, the parasite basically tells EnimaZ that, he was set up, that sort of stuff, and basically tries to bad light EnimaZ, and same with EnimaZ, try to bad light EnimaZ, the failed experiment as. Anyways, they're both in cahoots, failed experiment and parasite are. And I'll put the failed experiment up now. I haven't got any images of the parasite yet, but I've got a minor form of what it looks like right now. So there you go. So anyways, guys, they're both told that they're both dead. To each other they're told, EnimaZ, your brother's dead, and EnimaZ, your brother's dead, and you killed him. So they're both obviously annoyed and upset, but then EnimaZ doesn't believe that his brother's died. Somehow he just has a feeling that his brother isn't dead. Now, time goes by, and EnimaZ and EnimaZ are both, adults now, proper adults. EnimaZ is trained and is a lot more stronger. He's able to control his blood form a lot more better. But then EnimaZ escapes where the parasite held him, and eventually comes into the failed experiment, and instantly EnimaZ remembers him, and obviously gets real pissed off and turns into his blood form. He still gets beaten by the failed experiment, but eventually the failed experiment was going to kill EnimaZ, and EnimaZ, this is how EnimaZ turns Super Saiyan. He turns Super Saiyan for the first time, and is able to damage the failed experiment because he almost locks into blood form as well, which makes it a lot more stronger. So basically, like Kaioken times, we're Super Saiyan Kaioken basically. In a way, if that makes it more, more understanding for you guys. But anyways, that happens after EnimaZ is basically stopped by the parasite and was took back, and the parasite was like, you need to become a lot more stronger to look after yourself. And the parasite said to him, I'm going to take you to a planet now. Take you there. You're going to take one of these spaceships, and basically Saiyan pod, and tells him you're going to go to Earth. And this is where he meets the Z fighters, and around about this time it's the Cell games, and EnimaZ is told to keep quiet and just get and understand this and that sort of stuff because the strong fighters there. So he spends time there, and obviously the Cell games go through. He sees Super Saiyan 2 Gohan, and he tells the parasite, Super Saiyan 2 Gohan, how can I block this? And eventually he learns how to do the Super Saiyan 2, but it's not a strong Super Saiyan 2, it's a very badly developed Super Saiyan 2, because he needs a fit of rage. Eventually EnimaZ has to go into hiding because the parasite says, these space pirates are after him, and this is where you'll find out how EnimaZ and EnimaZ connect together and see each other for the first time, God knows how, when maybe like 10-20 years they haven't seen each other. But anyways, EnimaZ is stopped and he's trapped. He can't get out. He tries to turn Super Saiyan 2, and he exhausts himself. It's eventually stopped by the failed experiment, which beats him up to a bloody pulp. This is how EnimaZ got his first scar on his arm there. EnimaZ is basically with these space pirates, and he's basically mind controlled because that basically his brother's death took a toll on him because he thinks honestly his brother's dead because he can't control his key as well. They took control of that and knew that that would be the case. But anyways, EnimaZ is locked up and told, you know, you can't escape, that type of stuff. And they're trying to experiment on him, trying to make him stronger, and trying to do something. So I think it's to make EnimaZ stronger, because if they can both get their powers, because you know EnimaZ is the calmer one, but EnimaZ is the almost like mental broken down one. So if they can intertwine their power levels, it makes them a lot more stronger. Even though EnimaZ unlocked his power from blood because he got annoyed and angry because of his brother's death, or almost close to his brother's death. That's how he got it. But it's just like, oh, you could say to yourself, oh, you just contradict yourself there. He's rage, you know, he isn't that much of a good guy. He's not a good guy. He's just confused himself on what he needs to do with life. Anyways, guys, carry on the story. EnimaZ is obviously trapped. He can't get out, and eventually he does get out. He escapes somehow. When the cylinders explodes, and EnimaZ is obviously going on a rampage, and they can't control it. So eventually EnimaZ's let go, and he picks up a key saber. And a key saber is basically, it's almost a lightsaber, but you put a bit of key in it, and you'll be able to fight with it. Anyways, EnimaZ is damaged completely, and eventually failed experiment and a couple of his pirates start beating up EnimaZ. EnimaZ is out to kill a lot of the pirates, but then the failed experiment starts fighting with him and is trapped. And this is how he gets that slash on his back. He's cut with the key saber in the back, and eventually he's locked up again. And when EnimaZ is told by the parasite, you know, you'll be free in a couple of days, don't worry about it, just sit there for a bit, you'll be free. Eventually EnimaZ goes into another rampage and that type of stuff. After EnimaZ fights EnimaZ, and eventually EnimaZ punches EnimaZ in the face and his mask cracks, and for a second there you see EnimaZ for the first time, and you see EnimaZ and EnimaZ almost share like a moment with each other because they haven't seen each other for a long time. Then eventually EnimaZ goes in his fit of rage again and starts fighting EnimaZ again, and eventually the fight starts by the failed experiment and the parasite, and that's it. You know, they can't see each other anymore. EnimaZ wants to see his brother, but he's not allowed to, in a way, because it causes more of a problem for EnimaZ as EnimaZ would with EnimaZ as well. So basically, that's the story so far. I did it for at least 4 or 5 years of constantly thinking of it. I eventually thought of it in secondary school, and I just wanted to let you guys know, if you're confused with any way with that story, then let me know and I'll go more of explain depth of it, because I know this was quite short, it seemed quite short, but now I'm going to tell you the what if. Basically, you know, as I told you, EnimaZ is the more calm type and can control his key. Well, basically, through my information, Super Saiyan Blue is basically your key's controlled, and it's a certain amount of training. This is a what if. He hasn't got Super Saiyan God Blue. He's only got Super Saiyan 3, and he unlocks that by fighting Vegeta, and he has to turn Super Saiyan. He turns Super Saiyan 3 because the parasite completely takes control of him. He has no mind over matter, and he charges Vegeta. Vegeta still beats him, but to become on par with Vegeta, he has to go blood 2%, which almost like kills EnimaZ. Vegeta wins the fight still, but eventually EnimaZ has to, you know, give up because he can't fight anymore. So that's how he got a lot Super Saiyan 3, because I know I would tell you that, guys. And with how he unlocked Super Saiyan Blue is, he was told by the parasite, you know, do you want to become a god, because I know you want to become a god yourself. You've seen Vegeta and Goku do it. oh no, you want to do it yourself. So eventually he enhances EnimaZ with a massive power boost, Zenkai boost you could say, and eventually he is told, you know, you have to kill a god. So eventually he controls a god himself, like a weak god, and takes his power, and eventually he goes to Beerus and kills Beerus. This is what I've completely what I've guys, and kills Beerus, and is in charge of God, and he basically takes the power from Beerus, because what the parasite was told him, you know, you can take power now, and takes that god power off Beerus, and then becomes a god himself, a Super Saiyan Blue. So that's how EnimaZ turns Super Saiyan Blue. He basically gains an enhancement of massive Zenkai boost from the parasite, and the parasite tells him, you know, you gotta kill this god to prove yourself if you're worthy enough to fight Beerus. But eventually he fights Beerus, controls him, and takes his energy and kills him. So that's how he becomes Super Saiyan Blue, and he's basically on throne and is now the god of Universe 7. So if you guys enjoyed that story, and if you did guys, and you know, please drop a like and subscribe. If you guys want to understand the story a bit more and you're confused, then you know, please drop a comment saying EnimaZ, you're too fast for that story, you know, you need to go in depth with it, or you need to slow down with it, or I didn't understand this part. Or if you want to know more about blood, then let me know. If you want to know more about Super Saiyan, Super Saiyan 2, Super Saiyan 3, or God, then let me know. Or if you're interested with the God what if thing I just told you, and you think it's a bit too, you know, far-fetched, then you know, and it's a what if God, you know, it's a recent thing I've thought of in the last year or two. I'm still developing that story, but if you guys want to know, then please drop a comment saying, can you explain that? Or if you want to know about Mazora Z, because I explained in EnimaZ what he was doing. If you guys want to know what happened to Mazora Z for the whole thing, then please drop a comment. Hey guys, don't forget to like, comment and subscribe. Okay guys, hope you enjoyed the story guys. It's been 5 years in the making, and just want to tell you guys, if I've missed out parts, I will update you guys in a more in-depth, massive in-depth video type of thing. But then guys, till then, I'll see you later. What's up SEffectHeads? If you got to the end of the video, I would really appreciate it if you could give us a like, a comment and subscribe. I'll see you later, you SEffectHeads.